Welcome to middle school. This video will hopefully answer any questions you have on your child's transition to middle school. At ASV, we have the following core values: come prepared, act responsibly, respect each other, and engage in learning. What follows is some specific guidance on how a grade 6 student can adopt and exemplify these values. In order to come prepared, the grade 6 students will quickly need to acclimatise to a new schedule. This is what it looks like. You have homeroom in the morning every day with the advisor, and then what follows is an 8-period day. Each period lasts 40 minutes. There's a 30-minute break early on in the day, and there is a 50-minute break for lunch. Some subjects are arranged in double periods. The students, due to COVID restrictions, have to stay in the classroom. The teachers will rotate. However, it's still quite a stressful day, so students are encouraged to learn their schedule very early in the year in order to be organised. Here you can see a full list of subjects. It's up to 14 different subjects, so our students must be very, very prepared. Will our students have lockers? Yes, unless the COVID regulations specify otherwise. We will make sure that all our students have a locker to help them get organised. Our second value, be responsible. We want all our students to be responsible, to make positive choices and take ownership of their actions. How do we do this? Well, to adopt positive behaviour, we have adopted something called the PBIS framework. PBIS stands for Positive Behaviour Interventions and Supports. As part of this framework, all common areas, including the classroom, have behaviour expectations. These are the classroom values, for instance, and they outline what the student responsibilities are and what the educator responsibilities are. Students will be introduced to all of these expectations on the first day. There will be no lessons on the first day. The focus is entirely on routines and expectations for the entire area of the school. The PBIS framework works in tiers, is organised around tier supports. The common expectations, for example, this idea of there being rules for every space, are part of a Tier 1 support strategy. Tier 1 support strategies are for all students. Some students require a little bit more help. So we have Tier 2 supports for those students who accumulate 3 major infractions in a half semester. These students, for example, could benefit from a mentoring program, a weekly meet with an administrator, or they might require a daily meeting, a check-in, check-out. If these supports don't work or are not successful in improving the behaviour of these small groups of students, then we need to work on some Tier 3 supports, which tend to be more specialised. These might involve support by an outside expert and unfortunately could involve conversations about looking for a different school. Of course, each tier is associated with escalating negative behaviours, and so the consequences for these behaviours will also become more serious. For more information about this process, please look in the ASV Student Handbook, where this entire process is described in detail. Going back to Tier 1 supports for all students, all middle school students have a classroom clipboard. It's like an online form where teachers can comment on daily performance, both positive and negative. Here they record minor infractions if they occur, but also, more importantly, recognise positive behaviour when it happens. These positive comments are called care points, and I will personally send a congratulatory email home when students receive 10. We also have prizes and assemblies to celebrate those students who really excel in these areas. Responsibility is something that we hope will eventually become very innate in the students. And how do we help with making positive choices in terms of devices, for example? Well, we have very, very clear guidelines. Middle school students are not allowed to use mobile phones on site. If a student is seen with their phone, it's confiscated. The first time it's given back at the end of the day. The second time it's considered a major infraction. A referral is recorded and sent home, and parents must come and collect the confiscated phone. If you are a parent who is struggling with the decision to buy a smartphone, rest assured that students don't need one for middle school activities and should not be using school as an excuse to convince you that they should have one. There is a lot of peer pressure for students to get online and to start getting involved in social media. If you are struggling with, again, if you're struggling with this decision, the counselling department and I can offer you some advice should you need it, or access to some resources that can help you make the decision. So please get in touch if this is an issue. In terms of devices such as Chromebooks, personal computers, and iPads, we do not require them at the beginning of the year. Students should not be bringing these in in September. We need to first have a clear idea of the COVID restrictions so we can see how available the school resources are. And if we feel that it would be beneficial for the students to bring their own devices, we will send out some clear guidelines on storage and use. Again, expect a communication on this topic possibly towards the second half or end of September. Our third value, which is respect, is something we do a lot of work on at school. ASV is a multicultural, multilingual environment, and so as a community, we need to be very open-minded and mindful of the diversity present. We also have to be active in our commitment to create a positive learning environment. Now, one aspect of this involves the counselling department, who run an excellent PSE advisory and peer relationship program. As part of this program, we cover study power, study skills, positive peer relationships, bystander power, and healthy habits. As part of bullying prevention, we run bi-yearly anonymous questionnaires and regular small group discussions where we discuss the results of those questionnaires. Some of those discussions have been really interesting and have actually encouraged students to help run some of the events that I'll outline later. On a global scale, we celebrate the following events from the UN calendar. These provide opportunities for great discussions and are really fun activities. I, for one, particularly enjoy dressing up as an astronaut on International Women's Day. Students are encouraged by the Student Council or the small group discussions to suggest issues to discuss and celebrate. And some of these events have actually have been celebrated thanks to decisions made by the Student Council. Engagement. Engagement is fundamental to classroom practice, but also in student life. We expect students to be fully engaged in class, and in order to see the fruits of that engagement, we ask families and students to check PowerSchool and look at their assessment feedback on a regular basis. Our assessment platform is PowerSchool. We recommend a weekly check and standards-based assessment, which is used in grade 6, will feed back using the following descriptors. 3, which is meeting the standard. That means that the student is meeting the expected standard for that content. Approaching and not meeting. So the 2 is approaching and 1 is not meeting. Both 2 and 1 are a concern. So a 2 in a subject, I would recommend that you are proactive and you contact the teacher. If there's a 1, the expectation is that a teacher will be in contact with you. Assessments include projects, tests, homeworks, and each subject follows its own assessment plan. This information will be available to you on Parent Night, which this year should be in the last week of September. You'll have the opportunity to discuss these issues with the individual class teachers. We take part in map testing. Map testing are standardized tests, which basically give us an idea of where our students lie in terms of the global academic community. This happens in May and in October. The results are given to the students following testing. However, a full report is sent home at the end of the year in July. Lastly, assessment on PowerSchool is available all the time. So again, I recommend a weekly check, no more than a week though. But there are grade reports given out twice a year. 2 report cards are actually issued via email. However, halfway during the semester, we will have a progress report check-in time. So it's important to definitely keep an eye on the grades as that check-in point approaches. Now, engagement is not just about academics. We strongly encourage students to participate in student life. We have a Model United Nations group. We run a Model United Nations meet here in Valencia once the COVID restrictions allow us to. And though officially this club starts in grade 7, students in grade 6 can sometimes get involved with on-site conferences. So there'll be opportunities for them in some respect to get involved with what's going on. As part of ASV Plus, we have a very diverse selection of sporting activities for both boys and girls. We're hoping that we can start participating in tournaments again this year. We've had soccer, basketball, volleyball, swimming, tennis in the past, and all students, regardless of experience or level, are encouraged to participate. We also have a very active student council and ambassador program. Students in these programs are asked to lead student feedback, make decisions about our PBIS routines and rewards. They also help to organize activities, and it's a really, really good opportunity to develop leadership skills. Sometimes these school events are just done for fun, and we definitely encourage full participation. We have Halloween and Spirit Week, where students are encouraged to dress up. We have a talent show in December. We have Arts Days in October. Hopefully we'll be celebrating World Book Day, and there'll definitely be a couple of sports days for grades 6 to 12 this year. So definitely there will be opportunities to participate. How do we want students to be prepared for September? Well, I'm aware that there is some English summer homework, and a materials list was sent out in the last Voices mail out, but will also be included in this email. So that should be a help to get organised for the new arrangements. If there are any issues, if you have any questions about anything on this video or any other concern about grade 6, please let me know. Write to me at isabelcastro@asvalencia.org, and I will see you all in September.